Texta is shaping up to be a pretty well-rounded app now. You can manage your translations and you can add new languages. Um, and there's the infrastructure to send prompts off to AI is kind of in place. So I started exploring how AI can do more than translate. Um, One of the original ideas for Texta was to help write better copy. So writing better in languages you don't know, but also writing better copy in your own native language. Um, you'll usually encounter a few pieces of feedback when you work with copy as a designer or developer. How can we say this in other ways? How can we make this sentence a bit shorter or explain this a bit more? Um, and I've been playing around with how we can take those classic prompts and making them into features in text. So as you can see here, we have some translations, and if you hover any of them, you'll get some options in the top right. So these are some of the initial ideas I've had um, for making things longer or shorter or phrasing things in other ways. So let's see how this works. So in this case, we have a pretty simple sentence, and the prompt that goes behind these or kind of put into these actions here are also fairly basic right now. So I'll need to tweak these and figure out exactly how we get the best output. But let's try with this simple sentence. How much is the expense? That might be a good way of phrasing it, or it might be something we need to improve a bit. So let's try and rephrase it. So what is the cost is a different way of saying this, right? And that might actually fit my product better. Let's try and rephrase it again. How much does it cost? So you can see it's very close to the original piece of text, but it might be a better way of saying it. In this case, the prompt only asks for find a better or find a different way of saying this. It doesn't mean that it's better or better in the context of your app. Right now, it's just finding a different way of phrasing it. And this might help you and inspire you to kind of find the right wording. It might also be that this piece of text needs to be placed inside of a button, for example. And text and buttons has to fit, right? If it doesn't fit, you'll get truncation or you'll have line breaks in your buttons, which is not ideal. So I added an action for making text shorter or longer. So let's try that. It's already quite a short sentence. So let's see what happens when we ask about it. What is the price? It's slightly shorter. It's asking the same question, right? And that's pretty smart. That's really efficient, and especially in languages you don't know, you can quickly kind of work with making things shorter and better, and making it fit into your buttons. And especially with languages you don't know, this can be really hard, right? We have a French piece of text here that's missing, so let's translate that. We're translating from the English one right now, so you can see it actually matches the length quite well. And we can try and rephrase that, and there's different ways of saying this, and we can make it shorter or longer. And this really is a fun way of interacting with your copy. Of course, in scenarios where you don't actually understand the language, this might be a bit scary because slight changes in phrasing can also change the meaning of a sentence. But that's kind of the last 10% of writing great copy is, of course, to figure out a way to ensure the quality of the copy. That could be a human being checking it out, reviewing it, making sure that it makes sense. Or eventually your users will probably tell you if something doesn't make sense. So especially for smaller product teams, maybe even indie hackers, individual developers building products, this is a huge enabler, right? You can add copy, you can make it fit your UI, you can improve on it even if you don't actually understand what it says. And that might get you to a point where it's like 90% there. And 90% is more than enough to have a product that is understandable and usable. Um, so this is really exciting. And I think there's a lot that can be built on top um, of writing good copy. So let me know down below in the comments or in the replies if you have any ideas for things we can build in here. I think it's exciting to try out ways to really be thoughtful with the use of AI and not just apply AI because it's smart and it can do all sorts of things, right? How can we use it to do smart things in a very considerate way. So yeah, let me know if you have any ideas.